Look at this. First, you have this exchange of currents, mana matra. Go to the next one. Giri, okay. Exchange current. Next. I mean, after they have answered, the answer can come. Okay, next. Whatever, doesn't matter. Pretty simple. Go ahead. Now think about it. Where does it fit into the... What is this? Are you able to see? What is this? Do you at least recollect something like this happening in weddings?
Yes.
What is that? Look at that. Yoke. These days they bring a plastic scale and keep on top of the bride's head. So that is one thing. It's a very significant event with a substantial scientific background to it. That's like Giri mentioned, it's important to understand what you're doing. Go. Our forefathers did not anticipate the kind of dumb successes they would have. Otherwise, they should have documented all of them. Okay. This is our Panigraha. Saptapadi. That you understand. Standard jokes people correct. Saptapadi. What is this? Kashya. Now, so far, you have seen a few things. Do they in some fashion make any sense to you? There's a pedicure, there's a manamatra, there is a swing ceremony, and there is this yoke on the head, then there is Kashyatra. You know, it is, there are several things. But put together, they should make some sense. It should not be like, letters scattered on the board. There should be a cogent message there. Do you understand my point? So, that's the only way you will remember it. You will not remember something in terms of alphabet. This alphabet should become words. Those words should become sentences. Those sentences should become a theme. Now, we are seeing 6, 7 different things. Do they fit into anything like a sentence in your mind? Wedding. How do they become these individual flowers, how do they become a garland? They are really tied together, but we don't understand it. Do you understand my point? My first discovery, when my daughter Rukmini got married 20 years ago, I did not merely wanted to repeat what the Vadyar was reciting, so I said, let me read it. Then my wife Sudha said, why don't you reduce it to a book? I don't think too much in life. But he said, I reduce it to a book. I said, okay, I'll write it. So that is how the Hindu wedding book came into being. My first discovery was, my God, what an amazing logic, which I had not realized earlier. So my first discovery was, in fact, my first book was called Hindu Wedding, the Pattern in the Mosaic. Do you understand the point? If somebody, when an ant goes here, you will not recognize a pattern here. But when you go higher, there's a pattern that you can understand. There's a brilliant, beautiful pattern in all those, to us, cluttered things. We possibly recognize Kashi, let us go in on something of that kind. And people wait for Mangal Dana and say, let's go and eat. Because these two functions we understand. We don't understand the other things. So it's important we understand every one of this. First is, everything starts with prayers. It's a part of it. Obviously, do any of you know the equivalent of Ganapati for Vaishnavas? He's nowhere near as popular as Vishwa. Wow. Vishwa. Okay. In Chennai, thanks to EVR, every street has a player. He symbolically started breaking the Vigraham of Ganapati. I don't know what happened. Every street has a Ganapati. Yangathala has 2 Ganapati temples. Kuti. And Ganapati is very easy, friendly god to manage also. So there are a lot of Ganapati all over the place. The first is Ganapati Homa. And in the case of Vaishnavas, it's called Vishwaksena Homa. Next. Nandi Shardam. Shardam itself, in Sanskrit, there are no proper nouns. Virtually any word is a definition. Do you understand my point? For example, Shraddhaya Kriyate iti Shardam. What is done at Shraddha is Shardam. So if you say, look here, an office one man finish, there is something that is not Shraddham. You can call it whatever name you want. So, Shraddham is something which is done, Shraddhaya Kriyate, it is Shraddham. Nandi, can you imagine what is the Vitpati for Nandi? Anandam, Nandati iti, Nandi Shraddham. Nandi Shraddham is something which makes Shraddhaya done and which makes people happy. Who does it make happy? Ancestors. Nandi Shraddham is an exception to Shraddha. What is the exception? Normally, after parents have gone, the sons take over and do Shraddha. Nandi Shraddham is one exception. Even when the parents are there, the Karta, the bride's father, performs Nandi Shraddham, though his parents are still alive. Do you understand the point? So Nandi Shraddham, you see this pattern. One is worship to the god. Second is worship your forefathers. Which is Nandi Shraddham. What is the third thing? Hey, one second. Do you recognize what that is?
Palika.
Palika. What does the word Palika mean? You also call Ankurarpana. What is Ankur? Ankur is? Ankur seeds. Ankurarpana. This is something I should tell you. Ankurarpanam, the idea is, doesn't take place that day morning 6 o'clock. Okay? It takes place 5 days ahead. Okay? The seed should grow on the day of the wedding. After it grows, you should not leave it in the toilet. You should go and leave it in some small patch. Even a cluttered city like Chennai, you can find some patch of this thing. Right? Traditionally, what they would do, they would go and leave it on the river bank. So what happens? All these 5 seeds quickly grow. You see the environmental consciousness. When do we become conscious of subject? Very simple answer.
When we see it.
Huh? When you?
See it.
No. When you're screwed up. That's the right answer. Only when something is lost, you realize the value. What is there is never realized. To think that in our ancestry, thousands of years ago, there is a consciousness was environment. You know something? You read all this, you understand all this. The sense of pride you are filled with is unequal. You understand? Thousands of years ago, there is such a before we are talking about deforestation, this, that, and all that, we are doing this. And also, it is there for every one of those samskaras. If there are 16 samskaras, each of the samskaras, there could be smallest of samskara like Namakaranam or something, there is a Ankurarpanam. 5 days earlier, take that 5 or whatever patra, get what someone is, fill it. When it grows on the day, go and leave it in the river bank. This is something minimal you should do. You don't have to go to a river bank. If there is function, make sure it's not drained to the bathroom, but it's kept somewhere else. Okay? So, that is something great about Ankurarpana. So, the first set of things that happens is prayers. Okay? I think it's important. For example, if you understand the immediate family, understands at least, that Nandi Shraddham you are invoking the parents, at least, maybe you're all focused on that for that moment. Then you have seen all this. Suddenly, the bride side will go and sit in some place, the groom side will go and sit place, and somebody will formally go and say, will you please come for a Vrata Samavartana? Here somebody will go and invite them for this and that. What's happening? There are samskaras. These samskaras are milestone events in life. Do you understand the point? If you are Ramana Maharishi, you can be detached about everything. If you are not a Ramana Maharishi, you should celebrate everything in life. The alternative is go and get a psychiatric consultant for depression. That's also a choice available. But every samskara is intended to recognize something. There's simandam, there's a childbirth, child is going out, whatever, annaprashanam, every one of those things. So what we do is, they do Namakaranam. They will also ask, Enna Namakaranam? If it so happens that Mamiyar also happens to be a Janaki and this girl is a Janaki, they would give her some other name or something. Okay? It is not as if they were calling her ex till today. She obviously had a name as she grew up to be 25-year-old. On the assumption that some of these samskaras might not have been done, you do all this. Do you have any Purohits in this group? What we are Purohits? It doesn't matter. I can speak with a little more. Unfortunately, the people who perform the rituals also do not understand all this. They know the series of mantras to be recited. Tak, 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 they'll go with almost the cassette doesn't understand the music that's being played. So they'll keep on doing this. So in fact, honestly, they can ask, in the Pali Jatakarma Namakarma, was it done? Was each of this was done? If it has actually been done, it need not be done. Second thing in terms of operational basis is, all this you can do previous day or the following day. There are some people who will look at Jatakam, this, that, etc. Sir, 6 to 7:30 is excellent muhurta. This man also under so much attention, okay. And the Pundu will not even remember her own wedding. And she would have thought of thing, thought about 4 o'clock, had oil bath, 6 o'clock, and she said, she would not remember. Subsequently, I have to see the audio and see video and see how my wedding was celebrated. If you want to avoid that, all this can be done. If it has already been done in childhood, no issue at all. If it has not been done in childhood, you can even have the previous Sunday. Okay? So these are Jatakarma, Namakaranam. Nishkramanam is going out for the first step. Annaprashanam. Chudakarma is haircut. Karnavedanam is this thing. And this also, some Harvard University will publish a paper on how Karnavedanam will have acupuncture, its value and all that. Then you can all start redoing it. Next. Similarly, they'll say Vratam. This is bullshit. Vratam is taking a vow. It's a Vrata Samavartanam. What is the Vratam which is being Samavartanam? It's education. Somebody, whether it is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, whoever it is, you have heard of this? Ashrama Dharma. Okay? So, you start with Brahmacharyam, Grahastha Ashrama, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Okay? This man is moving out from Brahmacharyam to Grahastha. So Brahmastas, in your country, of course, Munanglas Parchona, there will be a convocation. There, this, let us say, Yajurvedam or something of that kind, it is split into 4 parts. They will have in the in the case of the 12 years of Vedadhyanam, they will have 4 different Vrata Samavartanam. Okay, so in terms of the 16 counts, once the wedding takes place, these 4 plus Vivaham is getting done. When that is done, of course, here what the Vadyas go through is, they could do all the 4, or as though the other first 3 have been gone through, the Vrata Samavartanam is done. Have I made my point? It is just a convocation ceremony. It is completion of the Gurukula Brahmacharya Ashram completion. That is when they were the second sacred thread. People will imagine second sacred thread is a part of the wedding. No. Second sacred thread is told that he has finished with education. That's about all. Do you understand the point? Since today Vrata Samavartanam is done virtually as part of the wedding, we tend to imagine the second this thing shows that he is married. So what is the moral of the story on Vrata Samavartanam? Number 1. Number 2, who has the responsibility for it? The groom's family. You know, because the bride's family is willing to take a turnkey responsibility, giving them the responsibility for that is wrong. If there is a wedding, any of your sons in the family, you should reimburse at least the Vrata Samavartana portion. It should be entirely at the cost of the groom's family and not the bride's family. Next. This is the Vrata Samavartana. Can you recognize this? What does Kashyatra signify? What does Kashyatra signify? Huh? Huh?
College, higher education.
ಯಾರಾದ್ರು 25 ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಬರೇಷನ್ ಹೋಗೋಣ. That's wrong answer. Huh?
Tired of waiting to be married, and he says, okay.
That is very, very. In my next edition of the book, I want to include that. Who told? A very interesting interpretation for Kashyatra. Will you come and explain this? The boy is there. He has gone through TamilMatrimony.com. He has gone to all those matrimony.com. He has put an insertion in Hindu Sunday pages. Nothing has happened. I said, Amma, I am going to Kashi. Very interesting interpretation. And you always said, no, you are a very intelligent bunch of people coming here. Very happy to hear that. Anything else? Yeah, there's one more interpretation.
தமிழ்ல சொல்லலாமா?
நான் சொல்லுங்க.
காசியாத்திர நான் புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டதே சரி சார். யூஸ்வலாக வந்து நம்ம சந்நியாசம் போகிறதுக்கு நிறைய பேர் விரும்புவாங்க. அப்படி அவர் போறணும்னு நினைக்கிறாரு. இல்லை இல்லை, நீங்கள் வந்து சம்சாரத்தில் புகுந்த பிறகு
கஷ்டப்பட்டாதான் அவங்க சன்னியாசம் கஷ்டப்படாமே சன்னியாசம் போகிறது இஸ் நாட் லெஜிட்டிமேட். That's I like that.
That's what I understand.
You're right. You're right.
If you look at Banaras as a seat of learning, he is going for higher studies.
Fantastic. There are really two things. One is you are supposed to go through the specific ashramas. One is brahmacharya, grahasthashram, vanaprastham, and sannyasam. It's so beautifully structured. Okay. Mistakenly, if somebody thinks I want to embrace sannyasam or something, that bugger, don't do that. You are not ready for it really. Come back, marry my daughter, then you will really feel like becoming a sannyasi. So that's the first point. Okay. Second is what Mr. Kumar had said. Kashi was a really seat of learning. If somebody goes to Harvard, will you stop him? Don't go to Harvard. Or you have to stay back home. No, you will not do that.
Go to MIT.
So, second is going for a seat of learning. There also what you're saying is, if you go to Harvard, you'll never come back. Don't do that at all. So, you better go, get married and go, so that you are able to pursue it properly. So, the point is, the sannyasa ashram route is not fit for most of us. Maybe a rare Ramana Maharshi or somebody who is capable of jumping all the ashramas and take to sannyasa at a very young age. So that is not there. As a seat of learning, also saying you've done your adhyanam. So next thing that you should do is you should get into grahasthashram. So that's what it is.
கொடையும் குச்சியும் எதுக்கு?
Madness. If you ask me a good question, it's madness. Why would you want to give a kuchi to 27, 28-year-old boy? Makes no sense. Unless you want him to fight or something. So it doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know how it started. Some of these things when you start and you don't understand, religiously followed. Especially what does not make sense is so religiously followed, you cannot understand it.
So the umbrella and the walking stick, those were later additions.
Some point in time, I don't know how. Okay, I mean, in case he did not get a reservation to go to Kashi and is planning to walk all the way, the umbrella stick makes sense. But it's lot simpler to get a reservation and go to Kashi. Next. This is something very interesting. Huh? Okay. Okay. This is something called, there is a diktat called anashamena tishte. That is why the point that you said, even if Kashi is a seat of learning, you have finished your adhyanam, you are done vrata samavartanam, which means you have finished with brahmacharya ashramam, and then what does anashamena tishte? You are supposed to move from brahmacharyam to grahasthashram, and then to vanaprastham, and then to sannyasam. There should not be a gap between completion of one ashramam, so especially completion of vrata samavartanam, and then going into Vivaha, Grihasthashrama. So, if your daughter or son is dating somebody seriously in the last semester, please at least understand, Shastroktamai is doing something. Do you understand something? He is following what the Grihastha Sutra, whatever they said. I hope you're the younger, if you're the younger one, they would have been very happy to hear that. Okay? So last semester, they're supposed to date. Yeah.
So is this a one-off, or why is every groom asking for this? You know?
What's one off? Yeah.
Either one-off occasion I take, and the Kashi Yatra, how did it start?
Kashi Yatra, there are two formats for engagement. One of the formats is the father going and persuading the groom to come back. That is kind of portrait that is played out like Kashi Yatra. Okay, that's what it is. Have I answered your question? Have I understood your question? What is your question?
So my question is, if he is going through this and the Vritam Pandra, so next day he's going to get married, why is he suddenly deciding na Kashi Puri?
Madness. That's answer your question. So what they are trying to do is, okay, when I come to the next part where I am talking about the format of engagement, you will come to it. Yeah. Now, there are two forms in which, this is pre-tamilmatrimony.com. There are two forms in which marriages take place, are fixed. One is the bride's father going and seeking and calling a boy. This Kashi Yatra is a symbolic representation that he has finished his education and moving out. He has finished his graduation. It's like somebody standing outside Madras University convocation ground and catching out of somebody. Do you understand my point? So that is Kashi Yatra. So that is a form of engagement. The father of the bride goes, gets out of the bride. I say, okay, you finished your education, why don't you come and get married? One. The second is the boy taking the initiative and seeking the hand of the girl from the girl's father. Unfortunately, I would say, the entire wedding ritual is a contract, between who? The groom and the father of the bride. Groom and the father of the bride, and the bride is fairly incidental. Okay, so that's what it is. So, the second form of engagement is what is called Varanam. When the boy sends 4 of his friends and they go meet the father and seek the hand of the bride for their friend. This is phenomenal. They are going to ask the question, as a prayer, Dharma Prajartam Vranimahe. Whenever you say that you want something, you should say why. Okay? Do you understand what he says? Vranimahe, ask for it, seek. They say Dharma Prajartam Vranimahe. We seek for the purpose of Dharma Prajartam. This is something which permits of multiple interpretation. There is something, a person is born with, and the book in 3 deaths. Jayamano hai brahmanaha rinva rishibihi adhyayanena devaihi homa karyena purvajehi by birth of children. That is, a person is born with 3 deaths. What are those 3 deaths? One, we have a responsibility to carry forward the inherited knowledge. To who do you owe the debt? You owe it to Einsteins and Newtons and Sainacharyas. They are the one who had created knowledge. The only thing that you can do that is Adhyayanam Adhyapanam cha. You should learn and teach. So first of the debt is to your rishis, what are called rishis. Rishis are none but the people who have generated knowledge with the tapas. Okay? I would consider, for example, Swami Chinmayananda as a rishi of the 21st century. They have done that difference. Okay? So, the first of the debt is to the rishis, which you have done half, you have learned the scriptures. Scriptures is knowledge, that's all. Whatever it is. It could be what you learn it could be Artha Shastram for a Vaisya, it could be Dhanush Shastram for a Kshatriya, it could be Veda for a Brahmana. You have got to learn, you have done halfway through. You have learned and then you have got to know Adhyapanam. You have got to transfer it to the next generation. And for you to run a Gurukulam, you need a wife. So to clear the first of the debt, you need a wife and through her wife. So that is the first debt to be cleared, is to rishis. Second is to devas. In some fashion you can interpret this at the environment, society, nature and all that. That you do those days by homadika, ashwamedham, this, that, etc. Why do you need a wife for that? Agni. A man is not entitled to an Agni. And Agni comes only, even a very minor ritual, like there was somebody will come for 2 minutes and that lady will come quickly and go away. That Agni is given only, she is the carrier of the light. So even for homas, you need the Agni, a wife, and therefore Agni and therefore wife. Third is Purvajaha, ancestors, you know the ancestors, grandchildren. Like when a view of mine, I discovered why people have children. They have children so that they may have grandchildren. that is really the way people look at it. Maybe that's the way it occurs to me at this stage in my life. So the third is the debt you owe to your Purujas. To each of this, to clear each of this debt, you need a wife. Therefore, a wedding, unlike the other samskaras, which can be social, personal, family and all that, a wedding becomes a sacrament. Do you understand my point? In every Jewish wedding is celebrated with a great degree of reverence. Why? Because there is a promised Messiah that is coming. That Messiah could be born out of that wedlock. So when they celebrate a wedding, they have that reverence in their mind. They think, we am discharging a duty. Do you understand my point? Even now, in every Jewish home, the wall facing Palestine, do you know what is the status? It is left unpainted. No matter what I am, what I have achieved, how much of millionaire I am, how many children I have, there's still for my community, there's something undone. Okay, that wall towards Palestine reminds everybody all the time. That is, so to them, every wedding is a sacrament. When a wedding is celebrated, out of that wedlock could come a Messiah. For us, it's a sacrament because I am discharging my debt. Each of these 3 debts I can discharge. This is why you should understand everything that's being said. Otherwise, you don't understand nothing. You only wait for Mangaladharma and quickly go for lunch. No, you should understand, and this is the sacrament. This is the portion that could be one shloka, Dharma Pradartham Vidimahe, elevates the samskara to a sacrament status. So far, what have you learned? What have you seen? All these things that have taken place so far. One is initial setup praise, 3 events. First, Ganapati Homo, Nandi Shraddha, and Ankura Arpana, or just, that are common to every ritual. It may not be done seriously in every case, but it's common to every samskara. These 2 you go through. Again, you should bloody well remember, I have a duty to the nature. That's why the Ankura Arpana is done. 2, these are things which ought to have taken place 25 years ago, 30 years ago, or 4 years ago when they finished fellow finishes graduation. So that bride's 3 events plus groom's 1 event represents what you have been done, which is being done now. Next. There are 2 forms of engagement. What are these 2 forms of engagement? How does the wedding come into being? Yes, what are the 2 forms of engagement?
One is the bride's dad goes and talks.
What is it called? Hello, what is it called?
Second one is Varanam. First one.
Kashi Yatra. That's how we interrupted. So, in fact, seriously, is redundant. The marriage couldn't have taken place with both formats. Okay? It could have taken place only one format or something else. So, but we still go through. Our commitment to performing, our commitment to not understanding are phenomenal. Okay, so we will do that always in this fashion. So when you look at the wedding, 9 of the events that you're going through have honest to God nothing to do with the wedding. Okay, these are something which have been taken place subsequently. Okay, any questions so far? Next. What is the first one? You obviously understand. Audio.
ಆಗತ್ತೆ.
Now what you done?
ಇದೇ